Hey everyone, and welcome. Have you ever just looked around and wondered how everything is put together? From the very screen you're looking at right now to the buildings outside, it all boils down to a few fundamental shapes. Today, we're going to take a quick trip to understand these basic geometric building blocks. So let's kick things off with that big question. How are all the shapes we see every day actually formed? I know it seems super complex, but the answer is actually pretty simple. They all follow a clear set of rules. And once you know those rules, you're going to start seeing them absolutely everywhere. Okay, let's dive in with our first major term, the polygon. You can think of this as the parent category for almost everything we're going to talk about. The rule is incredibly simple. If it's a closed shape made up of only straight lines, boom, it's a polygon. No curves allowed here. So with all these polygons out there, where do we even begin? Well, we start with the simplest one possible, the shape with the absolute minimum number of sides you can have, the triangle. It's the true foundation of pretty much all of geometry. A triangle is exactly what it sounds like, right? It's a polygon that has 3 sides and 3 angles. It's the very first shape you can make by connecting straight lines to close it off. And get this, it's also the strongest, most stable shape, which is why you see it used all the time in bridges, buildings, and all kinds of engineering. But here's where it gets really cool. Not all triangles are the same. What's fascinating is that we can sort them or classify them in 2 completely different ways. One method is based on the length of their sides, and the other is based on the size of their angles. Okay, let's break this down. When we're looking at sides, an equilateral triangle is perfectly balanced. All 3 sides are the exact same length. An isosceles has just 2 equal sides, and a scalene triangle is kind of the wild one. None of its sides are equal. Now, if we completely switch gears and look at the angles, an acute triangle has all sharp corners. Every single one is less than 90 degrees. A right triangle has that one perfect square corner. That's exactly 90 degrees. And an obtuse triangle has one big, wide-open angle that's greater than 90. All right, so we've mastered 3 sides. What do you think happens when we add one more side? Well, we enter this huge and really diverse family of shapes called quadrilaterals. A quadrilateral is simply any polygon that has 4 sides and 4 angles. And this category, as you're about to see, includes some of the most common shapes that we interact with every single day. So let's meet the main members of the family. A square is the strictest of the bunch. It needs 4 equal sides and 4 perfect right angles. A rectangle loosens up one rule. Its opposite sides are equal, but it still needs those 4 right angles. A rhombus has 4 equal sides, but its angles can be whatever they want. A parallelogram just needs its opposite sides to be parallel to each other. And a trapezium is the most relaxed of this group. It only needs 1 pair of parallel sides. Okay, this is where it gets really interesting because all these shapes are related. It's kind of like a family tree. A perfect square isn't just a square, it's also a special kind of rectangle, and it's also a special kind of rhombus. And what's more, all 3 of them, squares, rectangles, and rhombuses, are just specific examples of a parallelogram. It all just depends on how many rules a particular shape is following. So, we've covered 3 sides, we've covered 4 sides. But of course, geometry doesn't just stop there. We can keep on going. What about polygons with 5 sides, 6 sides, 7, or even more? The pattern is actually super straightforward. We just keep adding sides and the shape gets a new name. 5 sides gives us a pentagon, 6 sides is a hexagon, like in a honeycomb, 7 is a heptagon, 8 gives us the very familiar octagon, just like a stop sign, and yeah, we can keep going to a nonagon with 9 sides and a decagon with 10. Now, there's one last really crucial way we can classify all of these polygons from the simplest triangle all the way up to a complex decagon. We can split them into 2 fundamental groups, regular and irregular. So a regular polygon is basically the shape in its most perfect symmetrical form. All of its sides are the same length and all of its angles are the same size. A stop sign is a perfect example of a regular octagon. So an irregular polygon is, well, it's everything else. As long as it's a closed shape with straight sides, it's a polygon, even if all the sides and angles are all over the place, kind of like the shape of a lightning bolt. All right, that was a whirlwind tour through the world of shapes. So let's just take a second to lock in the main ideas. The most important thing to remember here is that geometry is really just a system of building blocks. It all starts with the humble triangle. And from there, just by adding more sides and defining a few specific rules about side length and angle size, we can construct this entire universe of polygons that makes up our world. And that leaves us with one final and I think pretty cool question. Take a moment right now and just look around you. Look at the tiles on the floor, the frame of a picture, maybe the design on a notebook. Now that you know the rules, what shapes do you see?